2 a.m., your eyes snap open in the pitch dark, and your mind is unusually clear. You stare at the ceiling, convinced your sleep is completely broken. You toss and turn, glaring at the cold blue light of your smartphone. Your heart pulses with anxiety about the exhausting workday waiting for you tomorrow morning. But what if I told you this exact moment is not insomnia? For 99.9% of human history, this middle-of-the-night awakening was a perfect biological design. Over 300,000 years of harsh evolution sculpted this precise biological rhythm. Your body is executing a prehistoric command designed to keep you from being eaten alive. Your ancient hunter-gatherer brain is still operating inside your modern skull. You are not broken. You are just experiencing a massive evolutionary mismatch in a modern artificial environment. Tonight, you will set a digital alarm and try to force your body to sleep for 8 solid hours. Society tells you this continuous block is completely natural. If you wake up halfway through, you immediately feel frustrated and anxious. But the truth is, this expectation of 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep is a modern invention. This strict sleeping schedule is barely 140 years old. It was born alongside the Industrial Revolution, factory shift work, and the widespread use of artificial light bulbs. The moment we flipped the switch on electric lights, we shattered an ancient rhythm. We pushed the darkness away, extending our working days deep into the natural night. Your eyes absorb that artificial glare, tricking your nervous system into thinking the sun is still shining. Your natural melatonin levels crash, and your biological clock becomes deeply confused. Before the year 1800, humanity did not sleep in one single heavy block. Historical records reveal that almost everyone experienced a totally different pattern of nightly rest. Historian Roger Ekirch discovered that our ancestors divided their nights into 2 distinct phases. They enjoyed a first sleep, followed by an hour or 2 of quiet wakefulness. During this midnight pause, they did not panic or reach for sleeping pills. They stayed calmly in bed, added wood to the fire, or whispered softly with their families. After this peaceful interlude, they would drift back into a second sleep until dawn. It was a natural, fluid rhythm that perfectly aligned with the turning of the earth. To truly understand why your body still craves this midnight awakening, we must travel back much further. We must return to the perilous darkness of the prehistoric ice age. Imagine the sun setting over the frozen tundra. The brutal cold quickly envelopes your ancestors. There were no secure doors, no solid walls, and no artificial safety. They huddled tightly around a fragile campfire. Just 30 steps beyond the flickering orange light, massive apex predators stalked them silently in the pitch black. If the entire tribe fell into a deep, unbroken sleep simultaneously, they would be slaughtered. Survival demanded a staggered biological clock where someone was always alert. Evolution etched this watchful window deep into our nervous system. Your brain was designed to sleep deeply, wake up to scan for danger, and then sleep again. This is not merely a historical theory. In 1992, sleep researcher Thomas Wehr conducted a fascinating experiment to uncover our true biological sleep patterns. Wehr stripped away modern conveniences. He plunged his subjects into absolute darkness for 14 hours every single night, mimicking the long nights of prehistoric winters. At first, the participants panicked, tossing and turning in the unfamiliar dark. But after several weeks, a remarkable evolutionary relic resurrected itself within their modern bodies. Their continuous 8-hour sleep physically fractured. It broke into 2 distinct halves, perfectly separated by 1 to 2 hours of profound, quiet wakefulness in the middle. During this midnight gap, they did not feel anxious. Their brains pumped out high levels of prolactin, a powerful hormone that induces a state of deep peace. For your ancient ancestors, this biological gap was incredibly sacred. It was the only time the harsh demands of daytime survival finally faded away into the shadows. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner studied modern hunter-gatherers and discovered that while daytime was for economics, the firelit night was entirely dedicated to culture and social bonding. 1. During this first and second sleep interval, the tribe stoked the flames. They shared myths, sang rhythmic songs, and processed the emotional weight of their lives. This midnight pause was the cradle of human imagination. It was a time to carve bone flutes, paint cave walls, and connect deeply with the universe. Your body still remembers this ancient rhythm. That 2 a.m. awakening is a ghost of the Ice Age, calling out to a world that no longer exists. But instead of gathering around a warm fire, you are trapped under a cold ceiling, pathologizing a profound biological gift as a frustrating modern sleep disorder. When you wake up today at 2 a.m., your brain still expects the calming, communal environment of the campfire. It expects soft whispers and safety. Instead, you glance at the glowing red numbers of your digital clock. Immediately, a wave of modern panic washes over you. You calculate your lost sleep. That single thought of frustration stops the production of peaceful prolactin. Instantly, your body floods your bloodstream with cortisol, the harsh chemical of stress and survival. To distract yourself, you reach for your smartphone. This is the ultimate evolutionary trap. The harsh blue light pierces directly through your retinas into your brain. Deep inside, your amygdala, the ancient threat detection center, is triggered. It cannot tell the difference between the stress of an impending deadline and a lurking cave lion. To your primitive nervous system, an unanswered email from your boss feels exactly like a predator waiting in the dark. Your fight-or-flight response is fully activated. Now you are entirely awake. Your heart rate is elevated, your muscles are tense, and your mind is racing. You have completely ruined the watchful window. Think about the contrast. Your ancestors used this biological break to weave their community together, quietly sharing stories under the vast, protective canopy of the stars. But you are entirely alone in a dark box. There is no fire to tend, no tribe to whisper to, and no danger to watch for. We have stripped away the social meaning of the night. The Industrial Revolution forced us to compress our rest into a single, highly efficient block of time. Your ancient biology simply cannot adapt that fast. Evolutionary changes take hundreds of thousands of years. You are essentially a prehistoric creature trapped in a modern cage. So, the next time your eyes snap open at 2 a.m., do not reach for your phone. Do not calculate the hours of rest you are losing. Instead, just lie there in the quiet darkness. Acknowledge the silence. Accept that your body is functioning exactly as it was brilliantly designed to do long ago. Remember the core message. Your body is not broken. It is simply remembering. It remembers the sacred duty of keeping the tribe safe from the surrounding shadows. So at 2 a.m., when your eyes snap open and your mind is clear, know that your watch is over. The tribe is safe. You can sleep now. When morning finally arrives, a blaring alarm violently pulls you from sleep. Your body feels heavy, your eyes ache, and you drag yourself out of bed. You pour coffee down your throat and prepare for the daily grind. Society demands 8 hours of continuous work, mirroring that rigid 8-hour block of sleep. We accept this grueling schedule as completely normal. But just like your midnight wakefulness, the concept of a structured workday is a massive evolutionary illusion. For nearly 300,000 years, the idea of clocking in simply did not exist. Your ancestors never chained their physical energy to a mechanical timeline. In the 1960s, anthropologist Richard Lee lived with the Jew/Hoansi tribe in the Kalahari. He expected to find a brutal, exhausting struggle for daily survival. Instead, the data revealed something shocking. These traditional hunter-gatherers only spent about 15 to 20 hours a week acquiring all the food they needed. They gathered nuts, hunted occasionally, and then they stopped. They did not grind themselves into physical collapse to hoard a surplus they could not carry. The vast majority of their daylight hours were spent resting, napping in the shade, playing with children, and sharing complex stories with their extended tribe. Site 1. Scholar Marshall Solins famously called them the original affluent society. Site 1. They were materially poor by modern standards, but they were immensely rich in time and rest. Compare that to today. When you try to take a simple afternoon nap, a creeping sense of guilt immediately poisons your mind. You feel entirely unproductive. Your modern brain has been conditioned to equate rest with laziness. But your ancient biology screams for the fluid, scattered periods of recovery it evolved with. The modern world forces you to sprint a marathon every single day, draining your cortisol reserves, while your DNA expects leisurely walks interspersed with deep relaxation. Before the invention of agriculture, human energy was never separated into strict compartments of work and sleep. Life flowed organically with the sun and the seasons. Everything changed roughly 12,000 years ago. We planted the first seeds of wheat, completely unaware that this tiny golden plant was about to domesticate us. The agricultural revolution bound us to the land. It demanded relentless, back-breaking labor from dawn until dusk, destroying our ancient leisure and breaking our primal sleep. For the first time in human history, labor was not determined by immediate hunger, but by the relentless demands of the seasons. It literally crippled our ancestors. Bioarchaeologists Mark Cohen and George Armalagos analyzed ancient skeletons and made a horrifying discovery. The transition to farming severely damaged our physical health and biological rhythms. The bones of early farmers reveal a tragic story. They were shorter, their teeth rotted from a carbohydrate-heavy diet, and malnutrition lines scarred their skeletal frames. Scholar Jared Diamond even called agriculture the worst mistake in the history of the human race. We traded our ancient leisure for a lifetime of crushing anxiety. As a hunter-gatherer, you only worried about today. But as a farmer, your brain was suddenly forced to constantly obsess over tomorrow's weather and the autumn harvest. This monumental shift completely rewired how we experienced the night. Sleep was no longer a communal, fluid period of spiritual rest and peaceful starry-eyed connection. Instead, sleep became a desperate, heavy coma required to repair broken muscles for another brutal day of labor in the muddy fields. The sacred midnight pause vanished. To make matters worse, early farmers began living in cramped, unventilated mud structures alongside their domesticated animals, breathing in dust and exposing themselves to new pathogens. Zoonotic diseases swept through these dense early villages. The night was no longer an open space of freedom, but a claustrophobic enclosure filled with coughing and sickness. Furthermore, the invention of private property and surplus food introduced a brand new evolutionary terror: the thief. The night was now filled with suspicion and paranoia. Your ancestors started building thick walls and heavy wooden doors. They locked themselves inside, completely cutting off their biological connection to the moon and the stars. Deep inside your skull, your ancient amygdala became incredibly confused. It was designed to watch for prowling lions, but now it had to guard against starving neighbors. This is the exact evolutionary mismatch torturing you today. You inherited the deep, watchful instincts of a nomadic hunter, trapped inside the chronic anxiety of a farmer. When your eyes snap open at 2 a.m., your primitive brain expects the safety of the campfire, but your agricultural brain starts panicking about tomorrow's metaphorical harvest. You lie there in the dark, sweating over unpaid bills and unread emails. Two completely different survival systems are violently clashing inside your tired modern body. To escape this terrifying internal clash, you reach over and flick on your bedside lamp. In an instant, the room is flooded with harsh artificial daylight. That simple switch was the final nail in the coffin. The light bulb, mass-produced just over a century ago, completely shattered our remaining connection to ancient time. Deep within your brain, your pineal gland detects this harsh artificial brightness. It instantly stops producing melatonin, the essential chemical hormone that forces your body to rest. For your ancestors, the transition to sleep was incredibly slow and gentle. As the sun set, the only light available came from the warm, amber glow of the fire. This specific orange spectrum of light does not suppress melatonin. It signals to your ancient brain that the day is over and safety has been secured. But today, your environment mimics high noon until the exact second you close your eyes. You stare into glaring LED screens, televisions, and brilliant overhead fixtures. Then, you violently flip the switch, plunging yourself into total darkness, and expect your brain to instantly shut down like a machine. It does not work. Your ancient brain is left stranded in the dark, flooded with residual daytime cortisol, zero melatonin, and absolutely no transitional firelight to signal safety. Panic ensues. This is why you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a broken machine. You are punishing yourself for failing to meet an impossible industrial standard. But remember our core truth. Your body is not broken. It is a brilliant, highly successful survival mechanism that kept your ancestors alive through the harshest winters. That 2 a.m. awakening is a testament to the endurance of human biology. It is the echo of a sentinel guarding a freezing cave in the Ice Age. It is the reason your ancestors did not perish in the dark. It is the reason your lineage survived long enough for you to be born today. When you accept this mismatch, the panic dissolves. You can stop fighting your own biology and allow the natural, quiet stillness of the watchful window to pass. You are not a broken gear in an industrial machine. You are the successful descendant of ancient survivors. And right now, there are no predators outside. So at 2 a.m., when your eyes snap open and your mind is clear, know that your watch is over. The tribe is safe. You can sleep now. So, now that you understand the evolutionary truth behind your 2 a.m. awakenings, what should you actually do when your eyes snap open tonight? Your immediate reflex is usually to grab your phone or force your eyes shut, grinding your teeth in frustration. Both of these reactions violently fight your biology. Instead, you must learn to hack your modern environment to mimic the ancient world. First, completely eliminate blue light and embrace the soothing, protective darkness. If you need light, use only dim, warm amber bulbs. This mimics the dying embers of a cave fire, signaling to your brain that the tribe is safe. Next, drop the temperature. Your prehistoric ancestors slept through the biting chill of the Ice Age. A cool room physically triggers your body to seek deep hibernation. If you remain wide awake after 20 minutes, leave your bedroom. Do not let your sleeping space transform into a torturous psychological battleground of modern anxiety. Move to a quiet space and engage in low-stimulation, rhythmic activities. Read a physical printed book, sketch on paper, or simply sit and breathe in the stillness. This quiet period is a rare sanctuary for your mind to wander. It perfectly replicates the communal downtime when early humans processed the heavy emotional weight of survival. Stop trying to be productive. The midnight watch is meant for peaceful reflection and creativity, not for composing emails or frantically calculating tomorrow's grueling schedule. Most importantly, completely hide your digital clocks. A prehistoric hunter never tracked minutes or hours. They only watched the slow, organic drift of the moon and stars. Staring at glowing red numbers instantly injects a fresh wave of toxic cortisol into your bloodstream, destroying the delicate hormonal balance required for your second sleep. Reframe your perspective. Do not view this waking hour as a lonely punishment. View it as a profound, silent gift of time stolen back from the industrial machine. You are the nocturnal guardian standing watch. You are experiencing the exact same quiet solitude that sculpted the imagination and spiritual depth of the entire human species. When you finally surrender to this biological rhythm, the frustration melts away. The soothing wave of prolactin will naturally flood back into your ancient neural pathways. Without forcing it, the heavy, comforting blanket of the second sleep will pull you under once again, restoring your body exactly as nature intended millions of years ago. Today, we treat sleep like a strict productivity metric. We strap trackers to our wrists and frantically monitor our deep sleep cycles on bright digital graphs. We grade our rest like an exam, failing to realize that this obsession with perfect, uninterrupted sleep is entirely a byproduct of the rigid industrial machine. When you try to force your ancient biology into a rigid, optimized spreadsheet, your brain rebels. It senses the unnatural pressure and floods your system with cortisol. This creates a vicious cycle. The harder you try to force yourself into a solid 8-hour coma, the more your nervous system panics and keeps you awake. To break this exhausting loop, you must surrender the need for control. Stop trying to conquer your rest and start listening to what your body remembers. Your genetic code is a living museum. It holds the highly successful survival strategies of countless generations who endured freezing winters and prowling predators in the dark. Every single one of your prehistoric ancestors survived long enough to pass on their DNA specifically because this segmented sleeping pattern kept their fragile tribe safe. The agricultural revolution tried to break this rhythm with backbreaking labor. The Industrial Revolution tried to erase it entirely with artificial lights and rigid factory clocks. Yet, despite centuries of modern conditioning, your primal instincts remain brilliantly intact. Your biology is beautifully stubborn, refusing to forget the ancient fire-lit nights. So honor the watchful window. When your internal alarm rings in the dead of night, recognize it as a profound connection to the dawn of humanity. Take a deep breath, let your muscles sink heavily into the mattress, and release the heavy burden of modern anxiety. You are safe in your room. The wild predators are gone. The cold Ice Age winds have stopped howling. The long, brutal watch of your prehistoric ancestors has finally come to an end. At 2 a.m., your eyes snap open in the pitch dark, and your mind is unusually clear. You stare at the ceiling, feeling completely at peace. You smile, knowing your sleep is not broken. For 99.9% of human history, this midnight awakening was a perfect, life-saving biological design. Over 300,000 years of evolution designed this rhythm perfectly. Your ancestral watch is finally over. The tribe is safe. You can truly rest now.